All right, we ready? You want to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. All right. We will call this meeting to order. He's going to do that right after we do it. Well, part of it's new business that's taken off the table. We'll do afterwards.
When you want to do that,
To take off the table right after that. And then the next one is when we start the business.
Okay.
All right. Unfinished business, or are there any visitors' remarks concerning the agenda?
Yes. Consider approving legally advertised request proposal for family finding. Is that to replace Penn York?
Is it? Yeah.
Okay. And you just didn't renew their contract, correct? Was there a particular reason why, or?
That's correct, but Maine can speak.
They submitted a letter on Monday withdrawing their intent to provide services after June 30th.
Oh, okay. All right. And right now there's nobody providing, June 30th, so you'd be able to get somebody new in before, with this advertising, right? Before their services are
We're going to try.
Okay. All right. And the other thing I had a question on was you had executive sessions on the 4th and 10th. You're supposed to be a little bit more detailed about what they're about, like what kind of legal issues and personnel issues?
Personnel and legal issues, and that's all the elaboration we're going to give on it.
Okay. You should contact your solicitor about that. You're supposed to provide more information than that. So just to let you know. Thank you.
All right. So unfinished business, we will take from the, I'll entertain a motion to take from the table, consider approving an assessment appeal settlement agreement with Pizza Partners.
So moved.
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now.
Okay, I'd like to take from the, take off the table the assessment appeal for settlement for Cabinet Works.
And that's a motion.
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I'll take a motion, or I will move to approve the assessment appeal settlement for Cabinet Works.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the settlement agreement, and it's actually court-ordered settlement. The settlement agreement for Cabinet Works. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. All right, consider approving the minutes of May 23rd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, new business. Now,
Okay, consider awarding the bid for drilling a water well at Sunfish Pond to Fry Well Drilling, the lowest responsible bidder.
we have to add it to the
We'll
agenda.
have to add, yeah. They're the lowest responsible bidder for the amount of $81,610.
So this motion is in consideration of adding to the agenda the proposal.
So that's his motion. I'll second that, and I'll just explain. At the time that the agenda was posted yesterday morning, we had not at that time received any bids because the bid deadline was, I believe, 2 o'clock yesterday. So a bid came in after it was posted, and therefore we are adding it. The goal of adding this is, if approved, it would allow us to move forward with the project at Sunfish Pond without having to wait an additional 2 weeks of valuable summertime. And so that's the purpose of why we're adding it or seeking to add it at this time.
So, I don't think that's legal to do.
You can look at it. You can, by majority vote, you can seek to add it as long as you state the reasons for adding it to the agenda.
It has to be emergency or
No, it
do
does
any of
not.
this?
No, it does not. Look at subsection E of that section.
There was a court case on it recently. I'll send you
Okay.
guys information on that.
Okay. Well,
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adding that to the agenda, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, now we've added it to the agenda. Now we'll make a motion to, or I'll entertain a motion to approve the added items.
So moved.
Second, and again, the goal here, just so you understand, is to help make it moving, hopefully getting a well that's drilled that will provide potable water up there at Sunfish Pond. So that's the goal of this. And obviously we have to get on a well driller's schedule. There's a lot that goes into this. And so I think there's a certain amount of need for that.
Yes, press wants to, they can talk to Darren, Sarah Hunt, and they can explain it, but basically the well up there is a very shallow well, so it doesn't get down into the rocks. And this one will come under DEP standards. It'll be drilled, cased, and grouted, so it'll be safe all the way to the water supply. And maybe, if you guys want to know, you can talk to him. We have a geologist, a water geologist, you just told me about this reviewing, so we're going to do the best job we can to get good water.
And so the goal here is you drill this as a test well, and if it is able, it then becomes a production well to then be able to do that.
And it came in significant lower than what our original anticipated costs were, if I'm not mistaken. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. Consider proclaiming the week of June 3rd through the 7th, 2024 as Bradford County Child Welfare Appreciation Week, and I'll read the proclamation. Whereas every day in Bradford County, children are at risk of child abuse and neglect or have been removed from their homes due to such abuse and neglect. And whereas Bradford County recognizes the risks and the need to protect the children of the county. And whereas the challenging task of investigating child abuse, providing service to families, assessing safety, and providing services to ensure that Bradford County's children are provided with nurturance, family connections, support as they transition into adulthood, and services that allow a child to remain safely in their home or return home as expeditiously as possible, falls to the child welfare professionals of the child welfare system. And whereas the work of child welfare professionals may require them to enter into situations in which their personal safety may be put at risk. And whereas child welfare professionals work in difficult and emotional situations with children who have been victimized by physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, and other forms of maltreatment. And whereas child welfare professionals must develop great skills in working with families who are in crisis situations, struggling with mental health challenges, suffering from drug and alcohol afflictions, poverty, and other difficult issues. And whereas child welfare professionals must develop substantial knowledge and skills surrounding the rights of families, the laws surrounding child welfare, how to develop culturally sensitive services, and the legal process governing the system. And whereas child welfare professionals selflessly undertake the endeavor to protect Bradford County's children, often with low pay, long hours, tremendous demands, little appreciation, great criticism, and with dramatic impacts on their personal lives. And whereas every year child welfare professionals are injured or killed in their pursuit to protect children across the United States. And whereas workforce challenges have created tremendous challenges in the field of child welfare. And whereas innumerable injuries and deaths to children have been averted due to the efforts of child welfare professionals, therefore, in special recognition of the efforts of the child welfare professionals serving the children of Bradford County, we, the Commissioners of Bradford County, do hereby proclaim the week of June 3rd through the 7th, 2024, as Bradford County Child Welfare Appreciation Week. And I just want to say that those words don't begin to, while yes, we're recognizing them and reading this proclamation, it doesn't begin to fully elaborate on what you all do day in and day out. It's just, the people don't realize the challenges that you all face doing the work you do day in and day out in the settings, with the families, with the children, and in the circumstances in which these children are faced with the challenges that they face. So we absolutely thank you for everything that you do day in and day out. Morning, noon, and night. I mean, you're on call, you're in and out of homes day and night, all the time.
So we're not on the internet, so we're not that interesting. But raise a hand, how many CYS workers we have here today? No. I don't know if you pay these people enough to do what they do. And, when they talk about, going into tough situations, I probably can't fathom what you guys go into on a daily basis. From everything from infestations and different things, to drugs, to not knowing the safety of yourself. It's unbelievable. And, everybody may think that, don't understand the horrors that some kids go through, but you guys do. You're overworked. We appreciate it. We know that. The state lays, once again, our wonderful state lays the regulations down on you guys, and you have to work hard to do it. And they make me very mad because I don't know, has any state elected person ever come and talk to you folks about your job? Do you understand it? I bet not, huh? Maybe they should go with you for a day. Maybe we should go with you for a day. But we do, I can assure you, you are very much appreciated for what you do. We know it's hard. And I'm publicly stating that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I think, the areas of abuse and neglect that you are walking into every day and you are more intimately familiar with than any of us should give all of us pause and an opportunity to reflect on the work that you do for the least among us in this community who are faced with truly horrific and traumatizing situations, and the trauma that then you are walking into and also you experience as well. So take a moment of reflection, please, for these people. I know it was stated that the proclamation is last week, but we are definitely supporting you this week and every week, and thank you.
Yeah. No, again, thank you. And I can't remember when it was, and I just to cap this basically. It was several years ago that it was over in Wysox, over at the fire hall. There was some sort of a program that you all put on. That if the public, and unfortunately we're not on Facebook Live, but if the public had any idea of some of the conditions that you all go into and work in these families, it's incomprehensible. You can't even describe it, quite frankly. It blew my mind. It really did. And you think about the children that are raised in those conditions, it sickens you, quite frankly. So anyway.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the aforementioned proclamation.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider authorizing the chief clerk to legally advertise requests for proposals for family finding, family group decision-making, blended perspective meeting, and crisis rapid response services for the Bradford County Children and Youth Services.
A second, and just a question, when would we approximately have a closure of the bid or the request for proposal period? When would that?
It'll be 10 days from
About
the time
10 days from announcement, okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving an agreement between Bradford County and Blast Intermediate Unit 17 for technology services and authorize the chairman to sign.
Second, and again, a question for Michelle. Which facility is this supporting?
This is all of it.
This is for all county buildings, okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And it is a renewal.
It's a renewal, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the third quarter report for the Medical Assistance Transportation Program. That's a contract between us and the Best Transportation System.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving a solicitor agreement between Bradford County and Chris Jones Esquire serving as solicitor for the Bradford County Domestic Relations Office effective June 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving a space available agreement between Bradford County and Central County Youth Center.
Second, and Michelle, is this just for, is this for placement or what is this for?
I believe
Or maybe,
so.
I'm sorry.
For the Central County Youth Center
It's
agreement.
placement.
Yes, it's contract
opportunities.
pursuing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Replacement.
okay,
It's not physical space. It's
right.
Correct.
I just wanted to clarify when it said space available, we're not talking about a specific.
Sorry.
It's not a lease agreement, it's if we need to get placement services, we have that. Okay, thank you.
all right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving Resolution 2024-21 to approve the transfer of $3 million to the Bradford County Pension Fund to reimburse the fund for payments paid out to county manor employees from the sale of the facility.
Second, and again, just to clarify, when the manor stopped being part of the county, we had employees who had been at the manor who ceased to be county employees. There were payouts relative to their pensions to the tune of approximately $3 million, and this is just reimbursing our existing county pension plan for those payouts. Is that correct?
That's what it says.
Okay.
Keep it healthy.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving Resolution 2024-22 to approve the distribution of Act 13 funds for the Fire Department Equipment Grant Program in the amount of $613,160.75.
So
And
moved.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second, and if I could, that is a grant program that we developed this year to help facilitate providing means of supporting the fire departments throughout the county with some desperately needed funds to purchase some safety equipment, if I'm not mistaken, Matt.
Yeah, the intent of the program was to so a lot of our fire departments are utilizing equipment that's reached the end of its useful service life. Some of it is outdated by the OSHA regulation under which it's governed. So what we attempted to do was identify the need. We set a cap on the program, and then we did the outreach with the departments. So it includes things like turnout gear, rescue equipment, breathing apparatus, hose lines, those types of things. So it's all equipment, and it is specifically to purchase or repair equipment that is used for emergency response.
And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but the idea is too that by doing it this way and seeing what the various departments' needs are, when there's commonality between departments, you're able to achieve group purchases and perhaps achieve a better rate.
Yes, there was a committee established within the Fire Association to review those grant applications, and what they essentially did was look for duplicative equipment, and they're working to leverage bulk purchases for additional savings back to the departments in the county.
Yeah, and this is in addition to every year for the last probably 8 years or so, we've allocated $10,000 to each of the fire departments throughout the counties. This is actually in addition to that. All right.
Yes, further our commitment after receiving Act 13 funds for our first responders. We put up a burn building, we just recently hired a trainer. You know, we've done a lot of different things, and awarded a lot of different money for these people that volunteer, and they're getting in short supply, right? So,
And about how many departments are being assisted by this?
So we had identified 31 departments that had primary service in Bradford County, either fire or rescue, so there were some that were out of county, but they do provide primary coverage to Bradford County citizens. Of those 31, 28 of them submitted grant applications.
So you'd be talking like Big Elm, and would have been the one that's out of county.
Big Elm and Millerton and like Sullivan County.
Dewshore.
Provides rescue coverage in Albany and
The one right to Susquehanna County.
Little Meadows.
Little Meadows.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving Resolution 2024-23 to approve the distribution of Act 13 funds in the amount of $10,000 to Alpharon Community Park, Inc. for improvements to the Troy Community Pool.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Maine brought the importance of swimming lessons for children to the forefront. We had a tragedy, I think, in the road
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So, you know, to teach children how to swim. I know Maine has done a ton of work to do it. She's the head of our human services. So I'm very happy to do this for Troy. And hopefully, maybe that'll save some lives for the children. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, with the sort of Canton Pool not operating, I think in western Bradford County, it's one of the only public pool facilities that's available other than Mount Pisgah. And this money will go towards, obviously, the equipment as well as being able to provide those swimming lessons. So as a resident of western Bradford County, I'm very happy about this.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the sale of parcel number per the agenda at a repository sale as outlined in Section 627 of the Pennsylvania Real Estate Tax Sale Law, Act 542 of 1947 to James Bender for $150.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving the sale of parcel number per the agenda at a repository sale as outlined in Section 627 of the Pennsylvania Real Estate Tax Sale Law, Act 542 of 1947 to James Bender for $150.
So moved.
Second, and this and the prior one are both, the goal is to get these back on the tax rolls and productive.
They're two separate parcels.
Correct, yep.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the appointment of Margaret Boritz to the Bradford County Library Advisory Board to fulfill the unexpired term of Mary Beth Voda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the appointment of Ashley Walker to the Bradford County Library Advisory Board to fulfill the unexpired term of Wendy Carr.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving a contract with Susquehanna Valley Construction Corporation, the lowest qualified bidder, to complete the work on Bridge Number 38 Wells Township Farmview Road Replacement Project per the recommendation of Aaron Christ, Local Projects Coordinator, PennDOT District 30, at a cost of $1,356,144.
Make that motion.
Second.
Happily make that motion.
Second, and I guess what I would say is my understanding is Susquehanna Valley Construction Corp., this is an entity that's assisted us with other bridges as well and done a
They've
good
done a
job.
number of bridges throughout the county over the last number of years.
fabulous.
They do outstanding work, and I will say this one is particularly welcome because it's only been, what, probably 14 or 15 years that we've been trying to get
It's
this
been
bridge.
carried on the tip for at least a dozen years, yeah.
And it was involved in historic preservation study out in Wells Township, and the bridge has deteriorated, quite frankly, to the point it almost is unusable. And with emergency services being what they are today throughout the county, we need every bridge we get to be up to the weight limit, so that there's no weight limit restrictions on it. So this one is particularly.
So, and I just want to clarify for the public, this was bid by PennDOT. So because this is a TIP project funded by the Federal Highway Administration, the county signed a delegation agreement with them like back in 2018. So they handle all of the administrative paperwork, but we still have to approve the invoices and the contracts. So that's why it's written as such, a recommendation for PennDOT now.
So the total cost of the county
Will be 5% of that number. So it's a reimbursement project, and per Aaron, that was significantly lower than what the estimated construction cost was, and it is construction in 2025.
Thank you. And just to clarify, for those who might not know the alphabet soup, TIP refers to Transportation Improvement Plan
Program, yeah.
Program. So the Transportation Improvement Program is an annual reassessment, so to speak, by PennDOT of those areas that are going to be the focus of projects going forward, correct?
Yep, it's done in coordination with Northern Tier Regional Planning across the street, and they update that plan every 2 years. They pull the projects from the Long Range Transportation Plan, which is a 5 year.
So when we say that it's been on the tip or kind of at some influx or limbo for the last 13 or 14
It was
years.
on the tip when I was at Northern Tier almost 10 years ago, so it's been a while.
All right, we have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Consider approving the state food purchase program plan for operation for the fiscal year 2024,
So moved.
2025.
So moved.
We have a motion to second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so this is what allows us as a county essentially to buy food that then nonprofits and other entities can utilize to help distribute food, correct? Is that?
It is for the pantries.
It's for the food pantries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And some of the others.
Sure.
It's too bad Keith Morgan wasn't here for today, you know what?
All right. We voted on that, correct, Michelle?
No, we
Yeah.
haven't.
No, you just
No,
took
we
it.
didn't. All right. Well, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving a renewal of a contract between Bradford County and Rapid SOS for GIS module for the 911 system at a fee of $10,800 effective June 13th, 2024 through June 13th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Consider approving the DuPont Assessment Appeal Settlement Agreement, and again, it's a court-ordered agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think all taxpayers should pay attention to what's going on. A lot of these corporations, a lot of these businesses coming in and appealing their assessment because while they're, through our common level ratio, their taxes get dropped a lot, somebody's picking up the rest of it. And I think a lot of those people are sitting in this room. So that's going to have to be discussed in the future, but, you know, there's nothing we can do. They come here, they make their appeal, we deny it, they go upstairs to the courts, they bring in lawyers, and pretty much their hands are tied. And this happens on a regular basis. And there's lawyers who go to county, they're just sly. And they come in and that's what they do, represent these companies. And at the end of the day, the average homeowner is the one who pays for us.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Having said
opposed?
that, I'm happy DuPont is here. So I'm not taking a shot at them because who knows, maybe they need that tax break to stay in business in Bradford County. So, but just as a general overall consensus, that's what happens.
Consider approving the contract between Bradford Sullivan County's Infant Toddler Early Intervention Program and Jessica Pepper, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024.
I just want to clarify, I think that should say through June 30th, 2025.
Perfect.
Yeah, it'll be short-lived contract.
You're right.
So
The fiscal year, yes.
You're right, on both of those.
So that's
The
just
next
a
one, too.
typographical error, but I also move with the noted amendment.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving a contract between Bradford Sullivan County's Toddler Early Intervention Program and Amy Geiser, effective May 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2000, and I will correct that, 2025.
Thank you. So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider the hires and transfers of Michelle Wilson down through, including Nancy Orsick.
So moved.
We have a motion second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to amend the agenda to add the following. Consider approving the hire of Rhonda Seaman as a part-time regular assistant instructor for the Bradford County Literacy Program as per the recommendation of Sarah Fowler, Literacy Coordinator, effective June 13th, 2024.
You have a second? Yes. All right, we have a motion and a second to add the name to the agenda for hire. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, so now it's added, so.
And just before I move to actually consider it, the reason for that addition was because I think there's a recent vacancy in that position, and we just need to fill the position, and that's kind of came up. So I move to consider approving, or make a motion to approve the hire of Rhonda Seaman as a part-time regular assistant instructor for the Bradford County Literacy Program as per the recommendation of Sarah Fowler, Literacy Coordinator, effective June 13th, 2024.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other business. Samantha Bohart has been appointed in response to a court order by the Court of Common Pleas to the position of Magisterial District Judge Administrative Clerk 3 for the Court of Common Pleas in the offices of Magisterial District Judge Jonathan Wilcox, 42-3-01, effective June 24th, 2024. David Smith has been appointed in response to a court order by the Court of Common Pleas for the position of summer intern for the Court of Common Pleas in the Domestic Relations Office, effective June 3rd, 2024. And also, executive sessions were held on June 4th, 2024 from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and on June 10th, 2024 from 10:30 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. to discuss legal and personnel issues.
And I'll also add that there was, and it came up after this was prepared, on June 11th, 2024, an executive session from 4:15 to 4:30 to discuss personnel matters regarding the terms and conditions of employment of a current employee and a potential employee.
All right, Salary Board. There is no unfinished business. We have Matt Allen, our treasurer, who is a member of the Salary Board with us. New business, consider approving the reclassification of CYS caseworker grade HS22 to grade HS24, effective July 1st, 2023.
January 1st.
January 1st, correct.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Consider approving the reclassification of CYS caseworker 2, grade HS24 to grade HS26, effective January 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman.
We already did that.
Okay,
Well, yeah, we got to add that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the Salary Board's new business to add the following line item. Rhonda Seaman, grade 20, part-time reading assistant instructor at $18. per hour.
All right, we have a motion and a second to add that name to the list. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we'll go through and approve the grades and salaries from Rhonda Seaman down through and including Nancy Orsak.
Make that motion for the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Assessment Board, new business. Consider approving the replacement of the Clean and Green application with the Department of Agriculture Form AA0-82 with an application fee increase from $35 to $50 effective immediately.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Had to do this quick.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the following for tax exemptions. Gary Brown, and it is a renewal of a tax exemption.
Say they're veterans.
It's veterans.
It is a veteran.
It's veterans exemption.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Someone.
Oh, second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And also tax exemption for Carson L. Turner, and again, is that a veterans exemption?
I believe it is.
The new
yes.
one?
Someone.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Consider approving real estate refund taxes due to a veterans exemption reinstated for the following: Ava Ranch, and parcel number, it's Hummingbird Lane, Sayre, PA, in the amount of $169.68.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, visitors' remarks. We have,
So, Mr. Chairman, before we get to that, could we have our intern introduce himself to the crowd?
Hello, I'm Daniel Storrs, here interning for the commissioners, and I fill in when I can for the rest of the courthouse. Helping things progress.
that's good.
Forward.
Thank you.
Good job.
You're actually studying political science, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tawana graduate at Mansfield now?
Yep.
Great.
We'll see if the political stays in there at the end of the summer.
All right, Walter Woods.
I think there's a misunderstanding of when I complain about the employees doing certain things. It's more about you guys not training them on certain things. I understand that like onboarding is very short, between 3 hours sometimes. They can't get the full training, what they need for Sunshine Act regulations, right to know, and more importantly, the retention of documents, which is completely separate of the right to know law. And so that complaint of what they're doing is about you guys not training them properly to retain documents, at least in my opinion. One of the things I needed to do more research on was document retention. It is not something that we sue you over. It's something that is misdemeanors and felonies if you destroy documents you're not supposed to. Like the LAC, Library Advisory Committee, was a committee under you guys. The documents were supposed to be retained, especially minutes and agendas, but many of the other documents. Those being destroyed because you didn't inform those temporary unpaid employees that they have to be kept is on you. And that's a big issue. Misdemeanors and felonies. People can go to jail for that. You throw away a document you have to keep, it's a problem. Because we need that information to have a transparent and open government and to know why you're making certain decisions. When it comes to the agendas of your Monday through Friday 9 to whenever meetings, they may have to be kept for multiple different reasons. The first one is the rule book for you guys to follow and what documents to keep is pretty comprehensive, and I don't know if the administrative files, agendas with commissioner meetings need to be kept permanently or until they're no longer needed. But if they're used for any kind of major decision, like you look at the document and you say, I'm going to use this information to make a decision about how to go forward with the county, it has to be kept permanently. You can't just destroy it. And having an employee delete everything that's in the document and then type up new stuff, that's destroying it. And that's the word that the state uses to describe that.
All right. Mr. Woods, I'm going to state this one more time. We, us, go on the advice of our solicitors. Not just one, but multiple solicitors. That's the advice we follow, and that's the advice we're going to follow. And if there's an issue, then you're perfectly welcome to walk upstairs to the court administration office and file suit and begin that process. I certainly would welcome that because, quite frankly, we keep going around and we're following our solicitor's advice.
Your solicitor by the state has been told that he's wrong on multiple things. I mean, the state has said that multiple times.
You know, you use the word, I think, you may. I get sick and tired of you coming in here and saying destroy and make us sound like we're a bunch of criminals. You know what? I've been around a lot of boards, and they're outstanding people, and they try, and our department heads work hard to do the letter of the law, and they do go by our solicitor. And I've told you to get a lawyer and challenge us, and you'll whine that you can't afford one. But yet you love to come in here with the press and use the word destroy, use the word, when you're talking about
I'm using the word the state uses.
I'm talking. We're talking about worksheets. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about things that our department heads come in each week. It's just the lines that we want to talk about. They're worksheets.
Administrative files.
Oh, there are not. You know what? This is nonsense. And you're not going to sit here and degrade our department heads and say they're destroying stuff and degrade the board of commissioners. I agree with Daryl. You got a problem, then you sue us, get an attorney. And let's
Document retention is not about me suing you.
I'm talking. And you need to come in here and just get it done. Because I, for one, am getting tired of it. You're not going to degrade a board of commissioners. You're not going to degrade our department heads. They're outstanding people who work hard to do the best they can for this county, period. And I'm done talking.
That would be wonderful if we were actually
done.
done.
2 minutes.
So
Is it 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Whatever you, is it 2 minutes? It's 2 minutes.
Okay, you changed the rules, okay.
So I just want to just say, I think, you know, it's an attempt to always strive to look to be better or to look at things and revisit things. And I'll just say, we recently hired a human relations manager. Mm-hmm. And certainly that is the person who can assist all of us with onboarding. And certainly that's going to be within her scope of work. So I think I'll take your comments and we'll bring those to our human resources manager. As it relates to, you know, issues of destruction, I know that we're going to be working to try to come up with a very clear policy for the public as to address some of these issues. So I would say, you know, thank you, but we're, you know, going to be addressing it. And as Daryl said, certainly, you know, we take our roles very seriously. We take the advice of our solicitor very seriously. And we will, you know, be working. So I just want that to be.
I do realize that some of you definitely take your role seriously. I realize that.
All right. So the word destruction, I'm going to take issue with that. So that word is done for the press. Does any of the department heads destroy anything? Do you?
I have all of my agendas from every time I've met with the three of you, and I do appreciate the seriousness that you meet with me and entertain my entire agenda, and we have great dialogue.
So with the word destroy is a nefarious word. It sounds like something's up, something's scheming. No, it's not. These people, these department heads, we have 35 to work with the people, and they do a damn good job at it, and I'm proud of them.
Commissioner Makalenko, if you do
No, I'm
not
not
like the
speaking.
term
We're
destroy,
just-
take it up with the
Just
state.
stop.
The 2 minutes is, we're not gonna get into this back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, he said he was done, he kept going, so I figured I could respond to that.
I'm a commissioner, why don't you run for it, then you can sit.
All right. Hugh Austin?
Yes, I just wanted to thank the commissioners for recognizing the need to put the library board at full strength and bringing on these 2 new people. So, thank you for that.
Thanks, Hugh.
And I think,
Soon that advisory board will be more of a governing board.
and I would say,
So you actually run it.
I think Ms. Boritz brings a wealth of experience, and I would also say Ms. Walker, who I don't believe could be here today, she provides a voice for homeschoolers, who is an important user of our county library. So I really do believe that, you know, those 2 additions are going to be of assistance.
All right. Ben Miller?
Yeah, I'd like to just address quickly, hopefully I don't take too long, just the Pride Month and what happened in the equality document that you guys issued forth. I do like the fact that you're talking about recognizing Child Week. I think that's a very good thing. I think it plays into what I have to say. I want to start by quoting from Nancy Pearcey. She says, "The worldview that underlines homosexual ideology. No one really denies that on the level of biology, autonomy, and biochemistry, males and females correspond to one another. That's the way the human sexual and reproductive system is designed. Therefore, to embrace a non-heterosexual identity is to contradict one's biological design. Implicitly, the person is saying, why should the structure of my body inform my identity? Why should my biological sex as male or female have any say in my moral choice? The body is treated as though it has no intrinsic dignity or purpose that we are morally obligated to respect. This is a very low view of the body. Think of it this way. It is widely accepted today that if a person senses disjunction between biological sex and sexual desire, the only proper course of action is to accept their psychological state as their true, authentic self. But why? Why assume that feelings are more important than the body? No wonder the New Testament says same-sex activity dishonors the body. Therefore, God gave them up to the dishonoring of their own bodies, Romans 1:24. Many people denounce biblical morality as harsh and judgmental, but in reality, it is based on a respect for our biology as an integral part of the person. It offers a rich, multidimensional view of what it means to be human. The central question is how we define our identity. It is widely assumed today that humans are driven primarily by desires, feelings, and attractions, that your sexual feelings define your identity. By contrast, as Sean D. Harty writes, the Bible has a much more earthly, physical, and bodily definition of sexuality. Male and female, he created them, Genesis 1:27. The Christian sex ethic is grounded in the way humans were originally created. In the beginning is where we learn who we are, how God made us, and what it means to be fully human. Christianity is often accused of being anti-sex and anti-body, but in reality, it is the secular ethic that is anti-body. Gay activists downplay the body and our biology identity as male or female, and define our true selves by our feelings and desires. They assume that the body gives no reference points for our gender identity or moral choice. In essence, the secular worldview reviewed the ancient Gnostic disdain for the body. It is Christian that honors the body, male, female, instead of supporting biological sex.
Are you about finished, Ben? It's the 2 minutes.
Sorry. Yep.
All right, thank you.
So you're talking about I struggle with this. I talk to my pastor about it. I have friends that are gay, and I respect them. They're my friends, and I like them. And, you know, I go to the Bible, which is the inerrant word of God, but, you know, it's a very tough subject. And when it comes to, you know, people that are gay, I think they want to be left alone. They want to live their lives, and the ones that I know do. But when it comes to the alphabet soup and stuff, I think take great exception to some of that as well. So I appreciate what you come in and say, but I also talk to my pastor to make sure that I can be very respectful of all people, but yet, you know, go in line with what I believe as well, which is the Bible's in there with God. That's where I stand.
Right.
May I say something? So Bradford County Human Services supported Pride Month. If you look statistically, the LGBTQ community suffers higher numbers of suicide, mental health, depression, alcohol and substance abuse. All of that falls under human services. Our job is to lift up our community and be an inclusive community. I work for these three gentlemen. I work for Bradford County, and every day I will be a champion of vulnerable communities. Every day. And the law requires us not to discriminate.
And I think that was the substance of the Commissioner's proclamation, is one of non-discrimination and equality. I would say to each individual who is within the LGBTQ community, their story is their own. And I think it's important to recognize that some of those stories are very challenging ones.
Mr. Wheeler?
I'm with Ben on this. I have gay friends. I love them. I don't have a problem with their choices in life. I just do not think that we have to have a gay pride parade. And I just think our community is, I think if there was a vote and the community could vote on this, I just think that our county is not ready for this. And I'm sorry, it's my opinion, and I go according to the Bible. It is a total abomination. And I think,
So I agree.
I think
Talks
we
to
should
be
take
made.
a stand, not a middle of the road stand, but one way or the other.
It's tough, and names, and I'm not gonna tell your story, but you got a compelling story. And you and I talk greatly, and I respect you very much, but you know where my struggle's at, and you respect.
And I respect you.
Yeah, and you do, and she does.
Talk to me.
Pastor Ben.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that she does respect my struggle and where I'm at with, and I talk to my pastor in depth about it, because I too have gay friends and I like them, and they're gonna be my friends forever, but yet, even though we may not agree on everything, you know what, I'm not perfect. If I wanna look at the first sinner that I know, I look in the mirror. So, but,
I think my point was, the question was, the suicide rate, you're absolutely right. I don't deny that. I think my question is, are we actually helping by affirming something that might be part of what's actually causing the mental health and the suicide rate? Because some of the long-term studies that I've done, particularly on people who have transitioned, show that the suicide rate actually goes up after 7 years after they transition. So that's my issue. Are we actually helping? I'm not saying that they're going to be worse than anybody else to me, but that is where I'm coming from. That I don't think we're actually helping people. I think we're actually making them
And I would
worse.
argue that the discrimination and the stigma and the hate that they suffer based on who they are drives them to possible suicide and non-acceptance of our society and our community. And I agree that some of our community is not ready, because while we were preparing for Pride Month, somebody drove down Main Street and blasted a machine gun sound and intimidated all of us.
So I'll just make this statement. I lost family during the height of the AIDS crisis, at a time that when they were informed that they were not wanted, that they could be marginalized, that they were able to be forgotten, and that a disease that took their life was somehow some just punishment upon them. Not on my watch.
I think that from there to today, I think that people really have moved beyond that, to be honest with you, that was me. And I know that myself, I have a struggle, because I follow the Bible, but yet I respect, and I got friends. So it's tough. It's a conversation that maybe needs to be had, and invite people to maybe check out the Bible while you're making decisions.
And there's
as well.
different interpretations of the Bible, and there's several churches and religious communities that are affirming our LGBTQ community every day. The Methodists just in the last month voted to affirm and recognize.
Some people have to do their own.
Can I ask that, if we're gonna continue like a conversation?
His 2 minutes
we
is
have
up. Can
like
we
a-
move on?
Like if we actually have an actual meeting where people want to discuss.
Commissioners,
discuss
his
this,
2 minutes
otherwise-
are up. May we
Your
move
Honor.
on?
All right. James?
So just to clarify, Doug, you're saying that, just to clarify, you're saying that you believe that homosexuality is wrong based on the Bible?
Is that what I said?
Well, I'm asking you.
I'm saying that I go with the inerrant word of God, which is the Bible. I said that, but I also said I have gay friends.
I have a meeting,
So
I'm not
I'm just
gonna talk,
asking,
so I have to
can you
go
answer
to.
the question,
Sorry.
please?
Gonna ask you, you're not driving into this. I'm not asking questions.
And, also, the money, the $3 million that's going into the pension fund, that's from the sale of the Bradford County Manor,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's part of the proceeds from the sale of Manor.
And, what's the pay raise that the CYS caseworkers are getting?
That was you,
That was in
Michelle.
last agenda.
What's that?
That was in the last agenda on May 23rd, the
What-
increases.
So it was in the last agenda?
Yes. So the CYS was in the middle of a union negotiations, and so they couldn't get the increases that the other human service departments received
Oh,
at the time of the reclassification. So they were the actual salaries were put in last week, but the reclassification was not.
okay, so I can just look at the agenda.
His confusion comes from that it says raising of grade, but doesn't say what the grade salary rate is.
I
So
can
it's
give
in-
you those, James.
You can get that. Do you know what the estimated cost was for drilling that well out at such a time?
Darren Rathman,
He had to leave.
was it about 81 and change?
It was actually, I think, more than that. The estimated cost to do it was higher than that. I can't tell you right off the top of my head what it was, but
Yeah, because remember, it's bigger casing. It's a completely different well than a house.
it's a public water system well.
And understand, this isn't just something coming out of the blue. This is something that comes with DEP, under the advice of DEP.
Yeah, I think you were required to do it.
Mhm. Yep.
And then are you bringing potable water there now? Or are you trucking it out?
They're trucking it.
And is this potable water going to go to every RV site?
Not right now,
From
no.
the well?
Not right now, no. Well, that's the plan, but we're not there yet, James.
So you still need to create the piping to bring it?
Piping's all there. It's just a matter of going through the DEP process of approval.
The water has to be approved well, it's being safe water.
Piping is all there. It's just not being utilized right now.
So, okay, so once the new well is approved?
If it's approved for potable water use, then yes, we will hook it up.
Okay. So there's no plans to have like water fountains there or anything?
Not right at this point, no.
And then as far as the money that you're getting to help, I think it's repair the pool out in Canton, or Troy rather? Is some of that's for swimming lessons?
Yes.
To help them so they have the necessary staff and services in place to be able to provide those lessons.
So are those swimming lessons going to be free or?
I think there'll still be pay that you have to pay for it, but it helps them to cover some of that
Facilitate
cost.
doing all
Facilitate it.
Okay. And there was only this one company for Fries or Fries?
That's the
Yeah,
only,
fries,
that's
that
the
was the
only, yes, proposal we got.
Because it's a specialty well, James.
Okay, and do you you talked about the settlements with DuPont and Craftmaster.
Yes.
And do you have any information on how much county taxes are going to, do you have any information on how much their
Michelle has the
county
details.
taxes are
Michelle
going to
will
go
have the
down?
details of what the settlements, agreements stipulate.
Yeah, those can be
And
provided.
we can get you the breakdown of all the taxes, municipal taxes, school taxes.
Yep.
County taxes.
But it's a big problem, because again, somebody's picking up the difference, and it's the average homeowner, unfortunately.
And also, I mean, the other part is though that a landowner does have the ability, I mean, it's within the law and certainly within their rights to seek, a correction of their assessment if there's a basis to do so. So that's certainly within their rights to do.
Oh, so they felt that their assessment was too high, they went through and got the assessment, and that's why the taxes were reduced. Okay, thank you.
As far as this new program where you're getting, I think it's over $600,000 in grants for equipment for.
Yes.
Is it just for fire companies or also ambulance?
I think this was just fire.
There was only, there was one ambulance organization that was eligible under the program.
But they're rescue, it's
Greater
a
Valley
rescue.
EMS Rescue Service.
So it's not,
The Department of Public Safety, in coordination with the Commissioners and EMS Association, has been working to develop a financial guidance committee specific to EMS, to come up with a long-term funding solution for EMS, because the issues are significantly different in the challenges that the EMS organizations face versus.
Kind of same issues, we gave money for this. How did that grain rescue demonstration go?
Fantastic.
I couldn't stay there.
Yeah, it was
It picked
fantastic.
boys up. It was really good. We didn't get that film probably. did we?
I believe that we should have a video of that.
It's a good event.
It was a good event. I wish hopefully next year more people could go to it.
and basically the reason that you started that program, as far as this grant program, I don't know if it's a one-time grant program, but that's giving out over $600,000 in grants that we were just talking about. The reason that you started it is that you had heard that they needed it, or was there some sort of?
There were a lot of needs throughout the fire services for different safety equipment that were timing out, that were aging out, that needed to be replaced.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do is two things. Number one is to alleviate the stress on our first responders, number one, because they volunteer, their training, the regulations and everything are incredible. Number two is, what we do is, by doing this, we help keep the burden off the taxpayers. So that way that, if we can afford to do it, we're going to do it. And then, of course, there's actually three things. One is a safer community. I believe you're a school board member. Yeah, so it's tough sledding.
I think, James, the important part of this program is they've already alluded to, we understand that there's a dwindling number of volunteers, especially in our emergency services, and the time demand that it places on the individual who have families, who have jobs and other things. Every dollar that we can provide them through another avenue, one less chicken they have to sell them, right? Which ultimately helps keep people engaged, because the time suck that happens between all of those things combined, and then you can couple in the fundraising drives people away. And we're in a world where people are not patient, nobody has time to do anything, and so the goal here was to fill a gap that was unfunded and also provide equipment that keeps our responders safe.
So, and real quick, so like the burn building, our first responders don't have to travel now. So we're saving time. Matt just worked to do a study throughout the county on EMS, and one of the things was to hire a trainer. So that trainer keeps our first responders from having to travel.
And we're trying to get that certified as if I'm not mistaken, a test site, state test site.
For EMS, and I discussed with you guys during my normal meeting this week, the new trainer had also requested we pursue a designation through the State Fire Academy, which we will.
And he is an instructor.
He is already a certified instructor with the State Fire Academy.
If you get a designation through the State Fire Academy, that would only allow this one guy?
No. So that would allow us to run the State Fire Academy testing platform, which is what you just asked. So Right now, we have to contract that at $3 community college to run our Firefighter 1 testing program, and this would allow us to run it locally without having to go through it.
Right, and save traveling and doing all that stuff.
And that committee that you just talked about for EMS, like it's a funding thing?
So it's a financial guidance committee. I think as part of the EMS study, there was recommendations on what the funding gap actually was between what the operating revenue was for the volunteer and paid EMS services versus what they were actually collecting. So the goal is to help fill that gap, and our commissioners are committed to making sure that we have a ready resource available when a 911 call is placed. So what we have attempted to do is take, obviously, representatives from the Commissioner's Office, our fiscal department, and a representative from various municipal organizations like the Council of Government Organizations, the Boroughs, the Township Association, and the EMS Association to come up with a framework to be pushed out to the municipal level for what we anticipate to be some sort of matching program to fill that funding gap.
In God's name, you keep all the information stored in that.
I'm not sure.
It's like, it just amazes me all the time. It's like, holy mackerel.
Like what would be the matching program at the municipality?
So it's to be determined. I mean, at this point, it's to be determined. But ultimately, there are other areas in the Commonwealth where the counties have put up a portion of money. Either how they raise it varies. It's either through tax revenue or through revenue, something thereof, and the municipality matches it on a 50 basis.
50 1-to-1 basis.
Correct. Dollar to dollar. And Pike County was one of the innovators of this program, and essentially, if you've seen the news cover today, insinuate that their EMS crisis has been resolved. And so they're a little bit ahead of where we are, but that is where the county is headed.
Yeah, this conversation's gonna ramp up intensely into the.
Right.
What did you say?
We good, James?
This conversation's gonna ramp up.
Okay.
Because of what we're faced.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
Sunshine?
No, thank you.
I just have a point of privilege, Your Honor. Yesterday, there was an accident at the Route 6 bridge in East Troy. I'm glad, first of all, that no one was hurt, and I'm appreciative of the prompt response started by the team at PennDOT, led by Lloyd Ayers, as well as everybody else who helped out with that situation yesterday. As a Troy resident and as a former Troy Chamber of Commerce president, I'm acutely aware of the effect that the road detours may have on local businesses, particularly the businesses between the Route 6, Route 14 split and the affected bridge. Businesses like Pivot, Barnstead Pantry, East Troy Diner, Joe Perry Winery, S&B Flooring and Tile, Evolution Salon, and Long Communications, and many other businesses I may have omitted. Those businesses were affected significantly by the PennDOT road resurfacing in that area last summer. Folks in Bradford County should know that Route 6 can still be used from the west to access those business locations and to support them at this difficult time. Thank you.
All right. So Matt, has there ever been any, because Matt attends all the big meetings and all that, has there been any discussion of place that bridge? Because that's the first time it's gotten hit.
I don't know that right off the top of my head, and I was out there yesterday with our first responders viewing that bridge to make sure we had detour routing that was appropriate. We're still coordinating with PennDOT. We do have some concerns about their current detour that utilizes the Miller Road. There is
Especially with the amount of traffic.
And there's a very sharp turn out there that would, it's hard to negotiate with full length tractor trailers. So we are still trying to work with them this morning to implore them to use a different detour route. And we will continue to do that, but I would ask the press to remind drivers to follow the signed detour routes and do not deviate. Particularly for the county, we have 2 structures that are posted for load on local detours on Bronson Road and Merritt Hill Road, and please do not use them if you are posting because we can create a lot more issues.
How long is that bridge going to be down for?
It's to be determined, but I would anticipate it will be lengthy based upon the damage that was observed yesterday.
Could they put it, hopefully maybe they consider putting it up?
That would be a question for DOT. They are going to work as expeditiously as possible to reopen it. They understand the impact to Bradford County and the region. However, the bridge is old already and the damage was significant.
Just, plan as you plan your trips, accommodate some additional time to allow for a detour. And understand, don't try to make it up on some of these extremely residential roads, whether they're state roads or township roads or wherever you're traveling. There are people on those roads that are not used to this level of traffic. And particularly too, if it continues into the time of the Troy Fair, that will bring that. And also understand too, we're sharing these roads primarily, understand, with our emergency medical crews who will need to utilize these routes to provide safety to our residents. So understand, share the road, make space, take your time, plan accordingly, because we're all going to get through this together. And I think that's really an important thing.
Yeah, we gotta go. Our sheriff wants to get the.
Okay. Thank you.
Give us we need the prison board meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
All
right, thank you.